And we're back. Episode 11, if I'm not wrong. Correct, Robin?
That's correct. Episode 11, and not bad. That is, it's almost a whole season with Gist.
Yeah, maybe we should start seasons now instead of only having episodes. But I don't know when the limit goes when seasons gets introduced. I see you have a smile on your face. There's stuff happening. You have come out with press releases lately.
That's
Should
right.
we just get to it? What did you release
Exactly.
on Wednesday?
Yeah, no, I have a smile on my face. First of all, I always enjoy our Gist sessions, Markus, so that's brilliant. But extra smile today is it's obvious because of the press release that we had on Wednesday, that finally we got the last of the many, many green lights that we had to get where we are with the GCP unit at the hospital in Denmark, giving the last and I think very important green light for the clinical trial to start. So patient recruitment is ongoing, and for the GT002 clinical trial materials in place. So I guess we will start, or the people in Denmark, not me, the group in Denmark, will start looking at people to include in the trial. They have to come up for first visit and so on and so on. But all that is finally in place. So I think that more than justifies a smile at the beginning of this GIST meeting, Markus.
It's been a long wait, right?
It's been an extremely long way, and cost me a lot of gray hair, which one can't really see in this video, thank God. But
it cost all of my hair, if you haven't seen it.
It cost all of your hair, and you have not been along that long, Markus, in the middle of it. So exactly. But I looked a little bit up, because one of the things that I wanted to just mention in our conversation is this. It's a little bit of a phrase to that. Gabather is actually one of the very, very, very few companies where you've gone literally from bench to bedside, i.e., from the lab idea and from the design of the molecule all the way until giving it to a patient, which is what's going to happen now. And I think I tried to look up, before this meeting, Markus, what percentage of companies actually achieve that to get to this at least milestone. It's not the final goal. Final goal will be if we see a positive effect in patients, of course. But it's very difficult to find out the statistics. The only thing that I found out is, and I quote here for you, is, that it's the drug discovery and development within the area of CNS, which is what we are doing at Gabather. It is called I have to read this out here. It's the highest failure industrial process in the world. So to have achieved that, Cliff, is actually quite something. I had no idea, but it's quite remarkable.
As a small
to
company
have,
also without big partners, it's
yeah. So quite an achievement, I think, for everybody that's joined Gabather. A true Gabather trooper like you, for example. It's quite something that we've got here to this milestone. So not bad, If I think about now, look a little bit better about all the issues, troubleshooting, preclinical toxicology, GMP manufacturing, regulatory. Now just the permission for the human trials. It's really quite something. And as you say, without a big partner, and always, remind everybody that the regulatory rules, which are the very big hurdle at the very end, they are the same ones for us, Gabather, as they are for any of the giants in the pharma industry. We have to comply with the same set of data, submit the same kind of formalities. So I think there's
been so many hurdles. If you think of the company's history, you had the COVID as well, right? When it became hard to get patients into the clinical trial,
Exactly,
ruling out if they were sick, and
because exactly, and then because we are so small, it's always you have to depend on also and navigate other partners' decisions and their contingencies. So when you say COVID, for example, if the clinic calls you back and said, yeah, we have new COVID rules during this trial, will take so and so much longer, there's nothing you can do. It's nothing that I can,
could cure the virus, but that's quite hard by itself.
So exactly. So I think that is that is really, really great news. I was very happy to finally send this. If I think about all the different steps, I think all of the steps have had some sort of issue, some sort of problem, some sort of delay that we're but now we're there. Now we see what happens in the patients. I hope they can be recruited, the process started as quick as possible. Design of the trial is still the same crossover design. We've talked about that before. It's a good clinic, it's a good trial. And once it's getting, we're going to get good data out. And hopefully the data that we want, that we got a proper modulation of the activity and the neural fingerprint that we want to get. So that's why I think it's really, really, it's been really good news. So that is the one thing I had for today, which I think is important for GIST, you know. The second thing is an interesting, because when this news comes out, it's not a revolutionary thing, but it's a very important. I can notice the feedback that I got it's only 2 days ago that we sent this out. And one interesting thing is that now I've noticed that because, it's a paradox effect. Now, because we have in the clinic with patients, now all of a sudden people are suddenly interested in, how does your pipeline actually look like? What other compounds do you have in the preclinical stage? And before that, it was always, we are more interested in the clinical data, what can you do with GT002? Now we got GT002 in the clinic. Now all of a sudden this interest, what other compounds do you have? GT004, GT003, and so on, that we've talked about before. So that I think was this effect I didn't expect, and it's sort of really, really nice. So,
but isn't this also putting a stamp of quality into the picture of Gabather as a name as well? Because it is so hard to come by, to come into phase 2 by itself. So of course, people, it's a stamp of approval in one sense. You have actually come to patients.
Yeah, exactly.
And then after that, it's like I wouldn't say like a bullshit filter, but in one way, it's a filter for people to, when should we start caring about the company and its products?
Yeah, exactly. For the company goal, I think it's a very, very big milestone. For me personally, it's something that I really wanted to achieve, and I've got there. As I said, keep the fingers crossed that the results are also so interesting. So that is something, I don't know, was really, really great. And as you say, stamp of approval. That's right, because it's easy to say, and many people, of course, frustrated about the delays. But at the end of the day, we got there. Quicker, probably. Although I don't know. I think if we were not, and a combination of tenacity and perhaps also luck, that we got there. There are many others that either give up on the way, because of all the rather tricky waters to navigate.
And you have had people having trust in the company, also feeling it, seeing the potential. So
yeah, I really hope so. And that is the other thing I had on my agenda today was something that got a little bit, from the general news perspective, got completely lost. Very few people know about this, but believe it or not, on the 20th of April, the American administration, they signed an executive order, and it's Trump himself, actually. And the title of this executive order is Accelerating Medical Treatments for Serious Mental Illnesses. It's Executive Order 14401, signed on April 20th. It was a big ceremony. And it might be, that is so far, it's a symbolic value, but in the long run, it can actually be interesting, because the aim of this particular order, it's on the back of the treatment of mental health disorders with psychedelic compounds. But it's also in a general picture for innovative treatments to treat mental health. And it's an American initiative. So, it accelerates clinical trial. It fast tracks programs that do innovative treatment for mental health disorders, like Gabather, GT002. It has potential in this area. And I think it was super interesting. You don't really hear about this in the chaos of the news that you have in every day now for the last 2 months with the world situation. But this is something that, people from the States contacted Gabather and said, hey, are you aware of this initiative? Can we do something together? Because Gabather fits into this general idea of this particular executive order or initiative. So I haven't studied the nitty-gritty or the detail, but anybody that wants to look for Executive Order 14401 from the White House, April 20 this year, I think it's very interesting, has a potential to be very interesting. And it makes Gabather interesting for people, be it partners or investors in the US also.
As you said also how hard it is to come to this stage. If you think of the big companies, and then as you mentioned now in the US with FDA and so on, I think I heard a couple of weeks back with Lune Cab, is it? Biogen's, candidate for handling, is it plaque in English, in the head for Alzheimer's and so on. And this is, these are hard stuff. So it's interesting to see that there could be a potential that also Gabather could come and help with cognition generally, and this is a big market as well.
Exactly, and it's all, exactly.
But then, and the news in Sweden was, we can't bear the cost. I think that was the latest that I read, was that the cost right now in comparison to the gain is... it's not justified right now in Sweden, and that kind of speaks for it as well, because you can't take a pill like with GT002. You need to come into the hospital. You need to be monitored instead of just taking this pill once a day.
Absolutely. So,
interesting times.
Yeah, I mean, it is, that's a good thing about GT002, and the good thing of having run 3 phase 1 trials regarding the safety, and having a good formulation. That's really a big advantage, because it's, people say, but, it's not a fancy antibody. It's just a very regular medicine, and it's very safe, and maybe it's effective maybe the effect is state dependent, So it's a lot of, if it actually works, and that the proof is being
solid, produced
by the pudding or being put on the pudding right now, I don't know, but it's definitely there. So all this, I think, it's sort of interesting stuff. So I had these 2 news, a reflection on Bench to Bedside. I think it's interesting with this executive order regarding the treatment of mental illnesses in the US, and then everything there they do is, of course, big. It's relevant, has impact, and then regarding approval, FDA, interest of American partners, and so on in the future. I think it's very good news for mental health in general. And it got lost, sort of, I literally hadn't seen it myself. From the other side of the Atlantic, called me, hey, have you heard about this? This could be relevant for you. And I sort of, no, so anyway, I think it's
a cool thing, if you can fast track stuff, and that usually collects more money possibilities if you bring down the barriers.
At least that, if anything, it puts more interest in investors into the and of course companies that have focused or driven very hard on the psychedelics programs. They, of course, they will profit from this very much. But as a new innovative way of treating mental disorders, and I think GT002 has the potential for that, it's just good news,
Yeah. Some practical questions then when it comes to totems, like are there already people recruited, or will that start now? Or because I guess the healthy volunteers will be easy to gather.
Well, I think officially you're only allowed to start recruiting once you got the last green light from the GCP, which happened on Wednesday or last days. But of course, the data registered for all the volunteers are already there. So this is something that is ongoing. How fast it will go, I don't really know. I want to speculate about when we will have the first patient actually in the trial, but I definitely will want to be there when the first, or a control person, when the first, when the first person is actually in doing an EEG analysis. And I think, why not, Markus? Let's be a little bit innovative here. We can make a guest taping interview from Denmark, because I go there, and that would be cool to do that.
Okay. Yeah, pack me in the luggage then.
Exactly. Why not? That would be pretty cool. So that's definitely something that's ongoing. Yeah. But I've become a little bit careful with giving exact time frames, other than
you're not particularly in full control,
because I've run over so many deadlines that it's come careful.
Yeah. I guess, but they are partners. They are the ones in the lead, so I guess you can support them in the best fashion.
Yeah, exactly. The entire team is now in Denmark at the CNSR, and Gabather, of course, we are part of the steering committee and so on, and informed and in touch, but we are not the ones that put the EEG cap onto the people involved in the trial.
The last question, there's usually always a buzz and some questions that practically, these business development meetings. Have you been to any bigger events, conferences, or anything you'd like to communicate?
The chairman Bert has just come from a business development meeting in Switzerland. We are there. Then we also have, we have a business development consultancy. They're actually very active, and we got some good connections there. And of course, they all have now the English version of our press release, and reconnecting with everybody there. So that actually looks quite interesting. Let me say that it's work in progress, Markus. And with the ongoing clinical trial, it definitely makes things easier.
Yeah. I guess you're spending less time on in the lab then, and maybe giving more presentation nowadays then. Is that true?
And making exactly, presentations.
I guess we're looking forward to the next GIST or the next press release. I guess there's going to be some communication eventually when the first patients has been started. Everything is in place. Will be a great day.
And as I think we should do something about that. Let's become creative when we're there, Markus. But for today, I think just the background on the context on the start of the clinical trial, official start of the clinical trial, should do it. I think
big milestone.
It's good enough. Yeah. And it's not, as I said, it's not the goal and the commercial success of the company, but it's a very big milestone, definitely.
Of course. On to the next, but at the same time, we should look back and see what kind of that is such a big thing.
And also, let's not underestimate the effect of this news on the interest in the preclinical compounds. And that interest will only get better if we get interesting data from GT002, because then you can really go to meetings or presentations or whatever and say, well, this is very nice, and we got more of this or similar stuff or things that we know how to develop. And if we go into other projects other than GT002 in the future, the good thing is this, in the story that we have learned so far, at least we know now what not to do, And I don't know, if I look back at this journey, then I think it's more important to know what not to do than to know what to do. I think getting the impression,
Yeah, you have carved your way a path through the forest. Now you can reuse it.
So and the things then should be, more economically efficient and also faster, because again, what to avoid that slows you down. So that's good.
And hopefully you'll have, from my side, and hopefully you'll have a big partner with a lot of muscle that will help you as well. That's always the thing.
Exactly. And by then, Gabather has been around for so long time that we will tell the big partner how to do things and not the other way around. No, I'm just kidding. But that would be nice.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect ending, actually. So thanks for listening, everyone, today, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Okay.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks, Markus.
Bye.
Cheers.